It's Tedder time. So today we're going to look at multiplying fractions. And I know what you're thinking. Mr. Tedder, multiplying fractions sounds difficult. But let me tell you a little bit of a secret. Multiplying fractions is actually easier than adding or subtracting fractions. So because we can do this thing, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, that makes it super easy. Alright, so let's just dive right in. Let's say we have 1/5 times 3/4. Well, the reason multiplying fractions is easier is because we can just multiply top times top and bottom times bottom. So we can transform 1/5 times 3/4 into 1 times 3 over 5 times 4. So we just do 1 times 3, which is 3, and 5 times 4, which is 20, and get the answer of 3/20. So as you can see, multiplying fractions is actually pretty easy. It turns into just two multiplication problems because a fraction is actually just a division problem. And the reason for that, multiplying and division go a lot better than multiplying and adding. So let's say we have 6/9 times 3/5. Well, remember, top times top, bottom times bottom. So we're going to do 6 times 3, which is 18, and 9 times 5, which is 45. And then we're going to have 18 over 45. And now all we got to do is simplify the fraction. Well, both those numbers are divisible by 9. So I'm going to divide both those by 9. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. 45 divided by 9 is 5. So the final answer there is 2/5. So as you can see, it's a lot easier than multiplying fractions or adding fractions. But let's talk about what happens if I have a mixed number. So now, let's look at mixed number examples and how that can be a little bit different, but not difficult at all. Let's go. We back. So now we're going to mix it up by throwing in some mixed numbers with multiplying fractions. Well, of course, mixed numbers make it a little bit harder, but not that hard. Because the rule is, a little trick, is we got to change our mixed numbers to improper fractions. So let's look at this example. Let's say I have 3 1/3 times 1 3/5. Well, I want you to start doing something called the C method when going from a mixed number to improper fraction. So I'm going to draw a C and draw another C. So what that does is it tells me I do 3 times 3 and then add that to 1. So on the other one, I would do 1 times 5 and add that to 3. So let's do the first one, 3 1/3. Draw our C. And so 3 times 3 is 9. And then we add that to the top and we see that 3 1/3 as an improper fraction is 10/3. So then I have 1 3/5. So let's change that to improper. So I do the C method. So I do 1 times 5, which is 5, and add it to 3, and I get 8/5. So now 3 1/3 times 1 3/5 has now transformed into 10 over 3 times 8 over 5. And the reason we want to do that is because now we can just do top times top and bottom times bottom. So 10 times 8 is 80, and 3 times 5 is 15. So we're left with 80 over 15. Now I know a lot of you are probably freaking out at this point. You're like, Mr. Tedder, that is some big numbers. But hey, it's not that bad. So you know 80 and 15 are both divisible by 5. Remember, a number is divisible by 5 if it ends in 0 or 5. So let's divide both those by 5. Alright, so let's start with the easy one. 15 divided by 5 is of course 3. So our new denominator is going to be 3. 80 divided by 5, you might not know that one off the top of your head. It is 16. So we're left with 16 over 3. I would much rather change that to a mixed number than 80 over 15. So let's do it. Alright, so now we have 16 over 3. Well, of course, 3 goes into 16 5 times. So our whole number is going to be 5. And what's left over is 1. So our answer is 5 1/3. So we went from 16/3 to 5 1/3. And that's the final answer. So as you can see, multiplying mixed numbers is just one extra step. You got to change those mixed numbers to improper fractions using that little C, and that might help you. And then you just multiply across. So as you can see, multiplying is not that hard because really we're just doing a part of a part. So think about it. If I said in a problem, what is half a pie of half a pie? Alright, so if I have half a pie, well, half of that is 1/4. And if I did 1/2 times 1/2, that is 1/4. So that's going to be how they throw it in some word problems, and we're going to go over those. So as you can see, multiplication of fractions is just part of a part. You guys have got this. Tedder time. Ouch!